Hey guys, welcome back to the Blue Collar Future Podcast. I am your host, Jaden Robison, with our co-host Jessie Demler here today. Jessie, what is up?
So, man, just finally getting to get home and settle down for the day. Like I said, sorry for keeping you up past your bedtime, but at least we're
Oh,
getting our
dude,
episode in.
somebody was saying the other day, like we were talking, and they were like, "Who goes to bed at 9?" And I was like, "Me." You don't know how nice it is to go to bed at 9 until you go to bed at 9. Telling you, it is
Feel
pretty
that.
nice.
I'm like right behind it, like 9:30, 10 myself.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
also wake up like 2 hours earlier than I do.
I only wake up at like 4:30, dude. I gotta.
Yeah, okay.
I gotta have some time before work. This is gonna tie into our episode a little bit, but over the years, I've found that having plenty of time before work really helps me to have a better day at
Yeah.
work because rolling out of bed and like throwing myself together to go to the job and stopping at a gas station on the way, which is like what most people do,
hmm
it's terrible and it sucks. And then the rest of the day is just garbage. When I started waking up even just an hour earlier than I needed to, or an hour before I needed to leave or something, even if I don't eat breakfast, like whatever, I have time to prepare myself mentally for the day, I guess, and be ready to move and stuff. And I mean, it's like I'm more awake, I'm more alert. And if I do eat breakfast, it's better. Yeah, I decided to do that.
Shit.
And 4:30 is the time that I need to wake up to be to work since we start fairly early. But then
Fair.
that makes it this time of year, that makes me getting up like that has me getting up like 3 hours before I need to be at work, which is kind of weird. But I have all this time in the morning to, it's like, it's weird to do whatever I want, I guess. I've been reading in the morning, sit down, eat my breakfast, and read or work on doing the podcast stuff, whatever.
hmm No, that's nice. Yeah, like we're doing that job in Brigham now. So I drive. And of course, I have two of the younger kids with me, but I'm like, usually my drive is, I'm up early enough, but then my drive is kind of my like
Yeah.
settle in. And so having two other people in the truck, I get to work and I'm like, I don't feel like I'm ready for this ever, because
Yeah.
I don't like, usually I listen to a podcast on my drive or like I listen to something and I get there and I
Mhm.
have my coffee and I sit there for a minute. And I'm like, I can't do this with other people. This feels weird.
That's another thing, dude. I've been listening to audiobooks and like
Mm.
anytime I have someone in the truck with me, I can't just like listen to an audiobook randomly. Nobody's gonna know what's
No.
going on. It's gonna be awkward and weird. And I always felt that way about podcasts too. So I'm glad I don't have to ride with someone all the time.
Yeah. The podcast
That
thing too
reason.
is like, I feel like I could listen to whatever music I want and no one will say a word, but if I turn on a podcast, they always want to like chime in. And I'm like, and it's always like the most terrible context for whoever's in the car. Like somehow
Yeah.
whatever I've listened to, I'm like, oh, here we go. But
Yeah. That's funny.
yeah,
That's funny. Well, dude, we've got a topic today. We're coming up with the topic, and I just was thinking about this because we made a video, or some people we know have been making videos, and for
you.
Troll, and we were answering questions. Just me, and then everybody else, I guess. So one of the questions that we were answering in this video for Trollco was, what keeps you showing up on the hard days. Like the rest of them, I answered pretty easy because it was easy stuff. I mean, you know,
Mm.
basic stuff. But that one I took a while to think of because I was like, I don't actually know what does keep me showing up. It's like there's a lot more to it than a 5-second answer, which I think I said satisfaction of a job done or something like that, which is very base level thing. Like you get done with the day and see the work you get done in the day, and it is pretty satisfying, but that's not all. And a lot of times on the hard days, you get done and you're like, God, get me the hell out of here. I want to go home. So
Mm.
there's a lot more to that question. I think I think I wanted to first though have a little introductory thing for the both of us based on those questions to kind of reintroduce people to the us to the audience because we've had some new listeners lately. So kind of reintroduce ourselves. So let's start with you, Jesse.
Sorry, my wife is creeping over here to grab something. Yeah, we're recording.
Tell her it's fine. She's already walked to. through the
Yeah,
background of our episode.
yeah,
So
nothing different. It was just funny because she was, like, trying to, like, sneak. I'm like, "I can see you." Yeah, so for those of you who may not know, I'm Jesse Demler. That's my wife, Christina, that you can't see. I am a 4th generation Mason or bricklayer, if you care to be particular about it. Yeah, some people are online. You learn. But yeah, so my grandpa and great grandpa did their thing, their own kind of thing each. As time come on, grandpa came back from the war, became a Mason, got into the trade. That was my great grandpa. Then grandpa kind of followed in his footsteps, did his own, mostly residential, a little bit of commercial. But when my dad worked for him and then saw an opportunity in commercial, started his own business. It'll be 30 years this upcoming October. I work with him. I've been full time for 11 and a half years now. Currently the foreman and feels more like project manager than anything at this point. So I actually got to be on the tools for the last couple days, which was fun because that's a few and far between for me anymore because I'm usually on this, which drives me nuts. But that's where the plans are, and that's where gotta handle things so the boys can handle those other things that they're good at. But yeah, based out of Logan, Utah, Cache Valley, that's where our business is, and that's where everything else kind of falls in line. We do Utah, Idaho, Nevada, Wyoming. Most of our work has been here at home, but it sounds like we might be going back up to Idaho here in the summer. So yeah, a little about me. Slim Brick on social media. If you don't know that, yeah, just been having fun with that for a couple of years and trying to do a little bit more of this, like what we're doing, and
yeah,
share our trade and get people interested in this.
yeah. So one more question I think is actually interesting. I forgot about. It's in
Yeah.
this list that they had us answer. Which people, if you follow either of us, you'll see the videos probably if Jesse decides to upload his. What is one brutal truth about your job? And we'll say bricklayer. What is one brutal truth about being a bricklayer?
One brutal truth about being a bricklayer, it looks 10 times easier than it is.
Dude, you're
Because
just
most,
playing Legos, man. You're just playing
yeah,
Legos.
and the problem is, like, most people that you see do it are good at it, Like, the people,
Yeah.
like, that are willing to show it off, they're good at. So, like, it's just you learn how to be efficient. You know how to do it in the least amount of moves or that sort of stuff. So, like, they make it look really easy or, like, we make it look really easy, and then people get up there and like, "Oh, I can lay brick," and then they do it, and, like, even with a line and a level and all this stuff, they just can't, make it look good. But, yeah, so I think that's probably brutal truth. And then, like, to follow into our episode today, like, mentally, it's pretty tough, there's long days, it can be monotonous sometimes, it can be tough sometimes, the materials, whatever it is, or trying to make sure everything goes to according to plan, because sometimes we're building the entire structure out of CMU rather than a veneer, and,
Hmm.
we gotta make sure all the steel's in, I gotta make sure the plates are in, I'm really good at missing plates, apparently, learned that today. Um, I should have been looking at Epstein's files instead of the files on Procore, that's my fault.
Right?
Um, but, yeah, it's, stuff like that, like, it can be mentally taxing, and then especially if you get stuck with some of the old heads that are just kinda like, Masons have a reputation for being dickheads, so if you get stuck with those, that can be pretty mentally taxing, but we're fortunate enough now in the company that everybody's on the same agenda that I'm on, of, like, let's make sure
Hmm.
everybody's good and, like, bring everybody up with us so that everything's easier for everybody, but I've definitely spent my fair share of time on job sites with old Masons who are dickheads, so, yeah, I'd say both physically and mentally, it's easier than it looks.
Yeah. I could get behind that.
It
I could
looks
see
it
that.
looks easier than it is, let me correct myself.
Yes, I could get behind that. Yeah. I think
Like,
that's
I'm sure
true
you
with a
get the
lot of
same
stuff.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure you because people are like, "You just pour concrete over there and then bucket we broom it, you're good."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, people after they try it for the first time figure out it's not, which I'm sure it's the same with land
Yeah,
brick and whatnot. Try it one day, they're like, oh,
yeah,
this is a lot harder to do this right
yeah.
than I thought.
Yeah, like people with the try and they can't figure out how to get the mortar to stick to stuff. Like that's
Yeah.
always the humbling moment. They're like, "You just stick it on and it stays," and they're like, "It won't." That's usually the humbling moment. So it's
Yeah.
pretty fun.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll go next here, as if there's anybody else. So my name is Jaden Robison, and I'm from Ogden, so I'm just barely south of Jessie, and I do concrete. So I've been in the trade for, I don't know, 10 years, I'd say at this point, but really my whole life because
Mhm.
it's family business. I chose this line of work mainly because of family. My dad worked for his uncles doing concrete, and then he started his own thing doing residential flat work. And I'll say
Mhm.
one brutal truth about this. I said this online, but it's very time sensitive, and
Mhm.
you get one shot, and that's it. So you don't just get to take your own time, and then like, if you mess something up, just redo this little spot or something. It's like, or redo it the next
Mhm.
day, or take it apart, redo it the next day. It's, if you're pouring, even just 10 yards of concrete and you screw it up, that's upwards of $3,000 in concrete lost, plus replacing all of that and repouring it. And it's big giant pain. So it's like one and
Mhm.
done. And not only one and done, but also time sensitive. So it's like this little window that you have to do it right. So that's
Yeah.
one brutal truth about the job. A lot of people will lump concrete in with like the hardest trades there are, which I think that whole trope is really funny because everybody just likes to like complain about how their job is harder than everybody else's. I think there's
Mhm.
some truth to it because you're out in the sun all day. It's fairly labor intensive, and then you also, like I said, you get one shot.
Yeah.
It's
And
not very
that's
forgiving.
the concrete guys are the only trade that I've ever seen like be there at midnight and also, there till 7 p.m. That day. Like,
Yeah, yeah, because
like
you're on the concrete's
the rest of
time.
us don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're on the concrete's time. It's like it's my dad got out of commercial concrete because of that reason. Like if a floor is big enough, you've got to start super early. So they'd be starting
Um,
at midnight or even just 2 or 3 in the morning. And
yeah.
depending on the time of year, sometimes that puts you there all the way until midnight, like the next day.
Yeah.
And they've been on jobs where they've had to be just work in the concrete for like a whole day, just stuck there, whether it was like inside and in the winter or whatever it was. Like it's,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
Go take a nap in the truck and come back out.
well, it gets to the point where after a certain amount of time, you have to keep reworking the concrete, and there's not really much else you can do. So you have to wait, sometimes an hour in between, and it's like, what do you do? Nothing. You just sit there and watch. So it's time to get up and work. So
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Um,
and that leads us to the
I want
next question. But what are you
Oh,
saying?
boy. I was gonna say, this is maybe it's just interesting to me about you and I is that like we both come from a similar situation, family traits, both got, at least a decade in this plus other time as kids and whatnot. But both of it, like it's always been interesting to me that both of us tried the college thing and still came back to this. Because like
Yeah.
you did this, you and I both made it about just as far as each other, and we were
Uh-huh.
both like, "Screw it, I'm going to work." Like,
Yeah. Well, it's true. I mean, I was getting to the point, I was applying for internships, or I was about to. I was talking to some people about internships, and I was, getting close to my bachelor's degree um,
oh,
in electrical engineering. It was like I started seeing the numbers on how much I'd make, and comparing that to how much time I spent there, and what I could just be doing, what I'm doing right now,
oh,
doing concrete. I was like, I don't think I want to do that. Plus, I didn't think I want to sit around all day because I like moving and being active. Even if the job's hard, I
oh.
like being active and moving. So,
Yeah, I agree
yeah,
with you. But
yeah.
yeah, sorry to interrupt you before you were trying to
No,
start getting
that's
into
fine.
the meat of it.
Well, we'll have to bring that up on another episode. Talk about that more because we did have similar experiences there. So this last question is what prompted this episode. And the question is, what keeps you showing up on hard days? And this is interesting because a lot of people in construction, like we have a huge mental health issue in construction, and the job is mentally and physically. stressful, and all of them can be. And a lot of people just have a hard time pushing through and having that mental fortitude to get through the day. And that leads to crash outs on the job site, people crashing out constantly. And it's just
Mhm.
it's kind of comical to see. Like, you see the videos of the guys online that are like freaking beating the shit out of each other and like tumbling around. Like I've seen too many videos of concrete guys that are like freaking beating the crap out of each other, rolling around on the job. I'm like, dude, come. So, like, this sparks a big question, what actually does keep you pushing through the hard days? I mean, there's a lot to it, because it's not just a simple like I'm satisfied with seeing the job done, which is my base
Mhm.
level answer.
Yeah, and that's I feel like, like someone's be like, "Oh, well, I get paid," but like, there's some days where like it's never enough in that aspect either. You got to make it bigger than yourself, if that makes sense. So like, whether it's the like you mentioned before, of you get done with a job, look back at it, and like, cool, I built that. That's going to last for you know 100 years or more. Or
Yeah.
it's like me, like there's days, like I know coming up that are like days or weeks that are hard on the schedule. And like for instance, like I canceled the trip to World of Concrete for this.
Yes. Yes.
I looked at our schedule. I looked at what like we needed to accomplish that week and that sort of stuff. And I was like, for me, I looked at it and I was like, hell no, I'm not letting my team go through that alone. And because to me, it's those are my boys. Like that's the crew. That's like we were talking about earlier. We're all a little trauma bonded. Like those are that's a tight knit group at this point. And so I look at a lot of that stuff and like I'll know a tough day is up coming up or like a hard day or like I'm in the middle of a hard day and I'm frustrated, but I'm not letting these boys go through that alone. Like I need to be there for them and either whether to be the example or to be the brother or to be just the guy on the wall with them. So it's just kind of getting through the shit together and sticking it out because then you do have your trauma bonds with your boys because it's like we had one of the toughest projects we ever did was that student housing that was up 75 feet in the air. And, we had our issues with some things on site and other stuff. But now it's like all of us are like, you remember when we were doing this over there and like this was going on? Or like, you remember that dude? He was an asshole, but like we all got through it, that sort of stuff. So like that sort of stuff kind of pulls you through it. Like the days are going to suck. Like they're in there between, but there's far more good days than there are bad days on site for us. Like it's, most of the time we're joking around or we're listening to music or like I'm trying to help someone learn something or just that sort of stuff. And that really like as cool as it is to be like, oh, my hands helped build that building that's going to take care of this community for the next 100 plus years. Like it's also I'm to the point in my career where it's like I look at it as like I'm helping take care of my team and especially the young kids that are coming up and trying to learn underneath me. Because I'm like, if I show up every day and I show up well every day, then I get to teach that kid how to do something that helps provide for his family, and then he creates a ripple effect from that that moves down to the either the next generation or that he creates his own success, so then his family's allowed to create a success and stuff like that. So like the I've kinda, like, just far removed myself from the situation, like, if it's a bad day, it's really probably about a bad 30 minutes, and so it's I can get over that because, like Kyle, for example, or Jackson, like, if I'm there and I show up every day and I help them get through it, and then I show them how to, like, handle things properly, then those boys are gonna take that skill and knowledge and go further to help, like, create the life that helps take care of their kids and their wives and, what they wanna do with their lives and so on and so forth. So it's like then you start to see, like Stevens to the point now where, like, he's really getting it. Like, he's doing really well, and he's just, like, becoming a hell of a Mason, and, like, so to see them transition from, like, the baby steps to that and, like, get to be proud of that kid for that, and just, like, seeing him, like, really spread his wings and get to, get in there and help everybody out and like, have a proper opinion and, know how things get fixed and those sort of things, like, that's the stuff that's really cool. So, like, it's you could hand me, like, the shittiest day possible, but, like, if the next day means that, like, I get to see one of those guys or, like, anyone else on the crew, like, figure something out because, like, we put them in a position to do that, and then they took, the reins of that, that far outweighs this on the scale, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a couple things there. Like, everybody has those hard days. And I think
Mhm.
in my notes here it says hard days are a baseline. Like, I don't know if I want to say they are necessarily, but it's like a lot of days are hard. But it's that camaraderie that
Mhm.
pushes you through, and the trauma bonding, like everybody likes to say,
Mhm.
that helps you get through it. I think a big issue is there's so much pressure on everybody in trades, mentally, physically, and so forth, and out in the weather and in
Mhm.
these stressful conditions, like, things boil over, and it's really hard to do what you said, like taking a step back and saying, this might suck right now, or this, or I just need to, like, remove myself to
Mhm.
uh, not get upset about this, or whatever. It's really hard. It's really hard to do that, especially in the moment. And I think a lot of people don't have the bandwidth to do that in the trades. But maybe it's just because, like, there already is so much pressure on everybody all around, um, in a lot of
Yeah, and
situations.
I shouldn't say that I'm, like, perfect at that, like, I had to
No,
apologize to a couple people the other day, so, like,
no, dude, I have to
I
do
just
that as
tried my
well. So,
best.
yeah, like, you know what? One person asked, I felt like was a loaded question on social media.
Mhm.
Maybe it wasn't. No, maybe I'm thinking of something else. Anyway, somebody was like, how do you guys actually do follow through with what you say? And
Mhm.
it's really easy to be on the podcast and, like, talk about this stuff and just say all this stuff. And I always want to clarify that I am not perfect at any of it. And
Yep.
it's really easy to know all of this stuff, a lot different to actually put it into work. So I lose my temper and I yell, and it doesn't help. I work with family, so I actually butt heads with my brothers quite a bit, because little brothers always have a way to freaking get under your skin all the time. So, and I am not good at it, and I just get so, like, I've been really good at pulling back, and I make an attempt every day to do what we talk about, because that's all it
Mhm.
is. It's like, so this gets me back to the topic. How do you keep going through the hard days? A lot of it to me is about just keep moving forward and keep
Mhm.
going, because it's not in the moment. Like, in the moment, it seems like it's this big problem, and it's so bad, and it's so sucky. But overall, the job's nice. We work with great people. It can be fun, and you got to look at the good. But it's really hard to look at the good when the bad, like, looms over you so heavy.
Mhm.
I think I saw, maybe it was a talk or a quote or something, that was talking about social media, actually. And it was like, you can receive 100 good comments, but you receive one bad one, and that will just, like, loom over you, because the one bad comment somehow holds more weight than all
Mhm.
of the good ones. And I think that applies here. It's like, one bad moment or one bad day can, like, throw you off. The trick is figuring out a way to not let it. And there's a few things, like, I think it's more about your methods to getting through it,
Mhm.
rather than just, like, motivation, because I don't think motivation really helps a lot of people in this way. So, like, I mean, what would you say your methods are to going through?
I agree with you on that, like, I'm not gonna put on a David Goggins podcast and get through my day, like, but, like, don't get me I listen to, some stuff,
Yeah,
but,
yeah, yeah.
um, no, it's just it's the stereotypical or not stereotypical, cliche of, discipline is what is it? Motivation's like taking a shower, but discipline's, like I can't remember how to finish this quote, but, like, discipline is the big part of this, right? Like,
Yep.
you know, is discipline gets you to show up on even your shitty days or your bad days.
Right.
Whereas motivation will get you through like the next 30 minutes or, it gets you out the door or, motivation, like, okay, I got to get up. Like, I got to get up and go out. But like discipline is what gets you to keep showing up every day and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's just keeping those sort of things in mind and, trying to, like you said, be better about like being present in that moment. So like, the other day when I got frustrated and kind of like couldn't keep it, like I had to I just stepped away, like, and then I came back and I immediately apologized to the kid that I flipped the fuck out on. Pardon me. Um, like, but like, it wasn't it wasn't him, you know. It was just it was situational, and like he was in a situation with me. So I was like, dude, that had nothing to do with you. I'm so sorry. You know, like that's like there's you know all the people in the TC's office and all this stuff and deadline. And I'm like, everything just kind of held and popped me. And I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, dude. Like, but like, like I said, as I spent a lot of time um, in my career working under people that were like, they weren't really awesome, if you will. And like, they never would have said, like, they never would have apologized. They never would have, like,
Yeah.
it's just how old men are and stuff like that. So I'm like, for me, like, okay, I can't, I remember how that made me feel and like who I really needed in that moment. So let me go be who I needed in that moment. Like, human emotions are real. Like, we all get frustrated. We all have stuff go on and whatnot. But like, let me at least recognize that, step away, go get my head clear, and come back. And don't avoid the kid. Like, walk right up to him, and be like, hey, dude, I'm sorry. And like, take extreme like accountability. Like, I'm the one that did that. Right. Like,
Yeah.
my emotions in that sense affected his days. So like, that took my little fire and made it a bigger fire because I involved him, and it had nothing to do with him really. Like, he was just in the moment with me, and so I think it's that and trying to get the 1% better every day, the brick by brick. Like, I like to make that joke, and that's why I made that post today, because you brought up this topic earlier. But it's like, all you can really worry about is, like, for me, metaphorically, is the next brick in front of you, and then like eventually it all culminates into this building. But like, all you can do is worry about put the next one down as good as you can, and then put the next one down as good as you can. And to me, that's like, that metaphorically speaks to life. So it's like, all I can worry about is like what I do in the next moment, and then try to get better on the next one, or like how I handle those sort of things. And, like I said, the try to remove myself and really focus on the idea that, like, I'm here to help these guys get better, and as well as help take care of our older guys to make sure that they can do their job properly and like have uh, as high of a quality of life as they can while being under my stewardship, if you will. Another thing, like you were talking about just a second ago with the quote, is been one that's been stuck in my brain lately, that I keep seeing on social media, and it is maybe the amount of good things in your life depends on your ability to see them. And that keeps sticking, because like a lot of people do that. Like, we're so good at looking at the negative comment online. Like, we're so good at like, this dude thinks that like I'm terrible at my job, but like there's 100 people that commented that were like super nice about your job, or like, oh, hey, you did this, or like, even if it was like criticism, they were nice about it, and they're like, hey, dude, try this. But we're so quick to focus on the dude that was an asshole, and instead of just like, okay, you know what, that dude's probably having a bad day. Like, I hope his day gets better. That's how I try to handle those sort of things.
Mhm.
Like, um, I'll even comment that and be like, hey, dude, I hope your day gets better, because mine would have to be pretty bad to comment like this on something. But, you know, or just, it's you gotta remove yourself and remove your ego from the situation. Be like, okay, that person's having a bad day, but like, all these other people were really good to me, so why don't I put all my energy into that? And like, I think the that also translates to the hard day, right? Like, that's why I said it's really, a bad day could probably be boiled down to 30 minutes, or if that. So like, the other 9 hours that I was on site were probably not that bad. Like, or, they could have even been
Yeah.
good. It's work, but, like, it could have been good. Like,
Yeah.
maybe, you know, Mike did his funny Shorzy impression, it made me laugh. Like, I could have focused on that instead of focused on the fact that, like, I missed a plate over here and had to take the sledgehammer to the wall. Or, like, like, lunch was pretty good today. Like, that's alright. I gotta hang out with the boys and eat a good lunch, and, it just happened that we had to deal with something else at work. It's just,
Yeah.
I think it's all just in perspective of like, and it's so easy to look at like this little dark cloud and focus on it rather than looking at the big picture. And that's just the human experience. But we
Mhm.
just got to try to keep getting a little bit better every day to like, oh no, that doesn't bother me. And like, I'm not gonna. A younger me would have told you like, oh dude, you got to be happy all the time, dude. You got to be positive all the time. But an older me would be like, the goal is to be even keeled, right? Like, Hey, you're gonna have a bad experience, but just get back to here as quick as you can. Hey, you're gonna have a good
Mhm,
experience and, like, enjoy it, but get back to here as quick as you can, and then just, like, that's how a boat travels, if you will. It doesn't, list either way. It just gets back to even keel and keeps going forward. So
mhm,
that's kind of the methodology I've tried to adopt in my life, if you will.
mm.
You know, but yeah, that's where I'm at.
The funny part about this is we said it's not about motivation, but we keep dropping quotes, and I'm about to drop another quote. So,
Who's gonna carry the
but
boat, son?
yeah, exactly. But this one ties in really well, and I've thought about it a lot. The only hell
Mhm.
that's really real is only in your mind. It has a
Yeah.
lot to do with. I mean, it's not even about just being happy, right? Because that's like the young person answer, and would have been my answer to. Well, yeah, you just got to have a good attitude. It's more about realizing it's not as bad as it seems, and
Mm,
being able to take a situation and like pause and say what do we need to do, what needs to happen, how do we move forward, and then let's just do it, and let's just
mhm,
get it over with, has really helped me to not let the bad days consume me and get really annoyed and pissed, because there's a lot of times where, like when I was younger, let emotions get the better of me when there's like crappy situations going on, and like fixate too much on bad things that have happened or problems that have arisen, instead of just saying, hold up, what do we need to do? Let's just get what do we need to do to get forward,
mm,
get moving forward? Let's just move on. I think it's a mentality, and it's not even a mentality of just have a good attitude. It's just what do we need to do?
yeah,
And it's a proactive mentality instead of a reactive. And if you can structure your life to where you're actually being proactive throughout your day, helps in those situations. So this goes back to what
mm,
I was talking about at the very beginning, where I started waking up early. That was a twofold thing, because I started waking up at the same time, because instead of just like waking up whenever, uh like whenever I need to be up to be wherever I'm gonna need to be at whatever time. So like if we're
mhm,
working 30 minutes away, like instead of an hour away, I'm gonna get the
mhm,
extra 30 minutes of sleep. When I started to make wake up at the same time and have that extra time in the morning to kind of plan out my day, and not
mhm,
even not even really plan, but like think about what I needed to do, and just as a
mhm,
baseline, being proactive in my day, it helps you to get into that idea of looking for solutions, I think, to problems,
mm.
instead of just seeing things that come up. I know when times when I've slept in and I'm late, problems affect me a lot more
Yeah.
than when I've had a good morning to myself and make it to work and am proactive in the morning and stuff, and my day is started off right. So there's a lot
Mm,
of things here, and I think it's like every single day doing these little things to kind of keep you in this rhythm, so when something happens or there's a problem or there's emotions get high, it doesn't like completely and it doesn't throw you off so bad either.
this might be the hippie in me, and I know that I cut my hair a little while ago. Those of you who are not Jaden might not believe that, but,
Yeah.
do you? Because I know that you're up in the morning, you're doing these things, and you're very intentional. One of the things that really worked for me, like when I was younger, because I did the same thing, right? Like younger me was a lot more emotionally charged, was a lot more like
Mhm,
reactive, those sort of things. So I took a large amount of time to kind of learn to like not necessarily, like this sounds cliche, but like to like walk in gratitude, right? Like that's like,
mhm,
oh hey, like this kind of sucks, but at least I have this, like, or like,
mhm.
hey, like I'm stoked on this, like just
Yeah.
like, because then if your focus is over here on like, oh, I'm grateful for that, like none of this can really affect you. Like, are you in the same boat there, or is that like I said, am I going a little too hippie that way, or
No, that is even hippie. I've heard a lot more hippie stuff. So I think the more that I've gotten into like throughout my podcast, I'm sure that people who have listened have seen a lot of evolution in the way
Mm,
that I think, and I can see an evolution in the way I think, even going back 10 years or so.
mhm,
I always get very intense about things. So that was one thing I really fixated on. It was like, I need to be great. I need to walk in gratitude. I need to be grateful. Like everything that happens, just think about something good that's happened. And I think there's a part of me that wants to still push people to do that, because when you start off with that intensity and that frequency of doing those things, as you go along, you realize you don't really need to do that all the time, but it is important to do some of the time
mm,
and have sort of that mindset. So, like, I've been very intense about things and then it kind of like fades, but I still do it. So I think that's kind of what
yeah,
the point I'm at with that is I still try to see the good in things and have gratitude for my situation, but also I don't really need to do that to like keep me holding on, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like, and I'm not gonna be like the internet bro that like says like, "Oh no, dude, like even if you're having a really like just a terrible time,
Yeah.
just be grateful for the fact that you have the time." Like
Yeah.
we're not gonna go that deep, but like just in some it's like, like if the bad day, or like at least I get to get home and like hang out with my dog and my wife. Like at least,
Yeah.
we get this, or like at least I know how to fix the problem that I messed up, or like at least like, this opportunity's here. Like I think that helps a lot with, those really hard days of like, yeah, that
Mhm.
sucked, but like I keep coming back to this. Like, oh no, it sucked, but like at least I'm with the boys, Like at least like we're all, everybody here together is really dope, and like I really enjoy everybody on my crew and like that sort of thing. So like, oh, that sucked, but like at least I'm doing it with them. Like at least I'm not with a bunch
Yeah.
of, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. But I feel like that's important, as well, like to understand that it happens. And this kind of has a thought that I've written down in my notebook. It's
Mm,
okay to sit in the shit, like in the hard times. It's okay to have those, and it's important to let yourself do it. Right. So,
mm,
idea being, don't just like push away this stuff and act like it doesn't exist. We're really good at acting like there aren't any problems too.
hmm. Yeah.
This might sound to people that are listening like we're saying just act like there aren't any problems, or you're not having a hard day, or you're not in a bad mood. Just act like it's not, and it'll go away. Sometimes it's okay to sit in that and to kind of
Mm,
think about why that's going on. And I think we have as a people such a propensity to like not do things that are hard.
mm, yeah.
like like just the idea of pushing through that hard day just like turns people off, or like hard work, people just don't even want to do it. The harder thing to do a lot of times is sitting in the emotions that you have, and like trying to figure out why you feel that way. If you're so pissed off at work, like trying to figure out why, instead of just being pissed off at everybody and screaming
Yeah.
at everybody. So, like, it's okay to like sit in that and try to figure it out, but then move on and
Mm,
just move past it. I had one method I kind of have done almost subconsciously,
yeah.
but it's in here in my notes. Like, shrink your day up when it feels like you're in this hard day. Like,
Mm,
in your mind, kind of time block things, like, okay, well, for the next 30 minutes, I just gotta do this, and then we'll be able to
mm,
move on to something else. And like breaking it up into little chunks like that, even in your mind, can kind of help you like move forward when you're just in the worst conditions. Like,
mm,
here in Utah, we have a lot of crappy weather conditions, and like you'll be out there working in it, and it's in the teens and wind blowing and just freaking sucks. And it's like, okay, we're gonna be working until noon, and we can take a break, or whatever
mm,
it is that you have to, however you have to break it up. That's something that can really help to to push through those harder times, I think.
For sure. Yeah. Like I do the same thing, dude. Especially, winter for us, we hang tarps and do all that sort of stuff for like it's cold or like I'm like laughing to myself thinking about like the other day we sold Christina's Sportster and I went riding with the kid because let him ride my bike and at the I forgot I didn't put my helmet on and it was like one of the colder days the other day. And I was like, I'm on the road, and I was like, "Okay, this sucks." Like, I'm, like, trying to pull my hoodie over my head and stuff. I'm like, "But, like, I just gotta get half a mile more down the road, and I'm back in the garage. Like, I just
Yeah.
gotta get over there." And, like, it's the same thing with work, like, we're hanging tent, and, like, it's cold, like, if you're that guy, right? Like, if you're not in the tent or the tent's not set up and the heater's not going, it's like, "Okay, I just gotta get through this task. I just gotta like, as soon as I can get that tent up and the heater on, I'm good." So it's just like you
Mhm.
said, you break it up into smaller things rather than like, "Oh, man, like, this whole week or this whole month is just, like, all these like, because then it is miserable. You're like, "Oh, yeah," like, if it's a huge gap in your calendar, then, yeah, it is miserable, but if it's just, "No, I just gotta get through this little task," and it's like, "Cool, we did that one.
Mhm.
I just gotta get to." I like that, yeah, that's a good way to
Yeah.
do it, or a time blocker of like, "Okay, I like, in an
Mhm.
hour, I gotta go I could go to Maverick, and I get my Moab burrito and my coffee, and I'm good."
Yeah. I mean, it's something simple like that where you can say, "Okay, I can work for another hour, and then I can go take a break and go get a drink or something
Yeah,
at the gas station, just to kinda have a little bit of a break before I get back into the crappy stuff." But like you said with the tent, like, task related things, just gotta get through this task, and then it'll be better. Like, I'll be able to move on to this other task, and it's not as annoying, not as crappy. Sometimes the whole
mhm,
day is crappy, but then that's when you're relying on the fact that you have all of these cool people with that you're jiving with and talking smack with and like
yeah,
having fun and trauma bonding, we'll say, over crappy situations. And at
yeah,
the end of the day, I think everybody comes out the other side better for it. I think everybody comes out better and stronger and more capable as long
mhm,
as you're actually making the effort to push through instead of like just trudging along and acting like it's the most miserable thing in the world.
yeah. There's an old mason, like, back in the day that, like, stuff would happen and stuff like that, and it would always it's stuck with me because as you're saying that, and he'd always be like, "It'll all come out in the wash." Like,
Mm,
you know? Like, end of the day, it'll all come out in the wash. Like, when it's all said and done, it'll all come out, you know? Like, so it's like, I could go out and get like, that's what he's getting at. Is like, I could go out and my hoodie's just filthy because we grouted and or like, I've been carrying rebar and stuff. I throw the hoodie in the wash, it does its cycle, it comes out, the hoodie's clean again. Like, that's just, it all comes out, it all eventually, like, you get through it. It's just,
mm,
but, by the end of the day or the end of the job, it's like, everything kinda, like, ironed itself out. Yeah, that sucked, or, like, yeah, the hoodie got dirty, but, like, at the end of the day, like, it's clean, the job's done. We had just as many good moments as we did bad, and, like, yeah, that really sucked, but, like, we got through it, you know? So, like, just
hmm
that saying of, like, "It'll all come out in the wash" has always stuck with me, and, like, what you were talking about really, like, that's just the embodiment of that is always, like, "That sucks, but it'll come out in the wash. Screw it, we'll get through it."
Yeah, let's be honest, though. Nobody wants to carry rebar.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to haul rebar around.
No. My hoodies are all, like, rusted right here.
That does leave a stain on you right there.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm like, I bet my hands are still orange.
Yeah, orange from carrying that garbage. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we did that pretty good. So I think I mean, the end of the day, it a lot of it is about your mindset and it is about like problem solving and I wouldn't even say moving along with a good attitude, but moving along with an attitude of we'll get through it and it's going to be over. It's not going to last forever.
Mhm.
We're going to be done and we're going to move on and it
Yeah.
is what it is. And you can come out the other side better for it or worse. And I prefer to be somebody that comes out better. Isn't it funny how the more you complain about how terrible something is, the worse it seems?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Think Yeah, I think
That's
that goes back to that quote I said, the only hell that's really real is the one that's in your mind. So it's like
yeah.
the more you complain about it, the worse it gets. The more you complain about the colder you feel.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty funny. It amplifies the sensation. So
Hmm. Yeah. And like again with the we said we weren't going to do motivational things, but
yeah,
like
whatever.
I feel
I do
like
like quotes.
yeah, but like where your energy goes is, or like where your focus goes, is where the energy goes, right? So like if you're gonna
Mhm.
keep giving energy, if you're gonna keep giving energy to that, it's just gonna keep growing.
That's why the whole idea of focusing on solving the problem rather than complaining about the problem is one of the main things that helps you get through those hard days and the hard times because you're focusing on finishing it. You're focusing on the end goal, like focusing on
Hmm.
getting to where you're going rather than just like, man, we're on fire and my tools are on fire and I'm on fire and it's 100 degrees and whatever. Like you
Yeah,
can make up all these scenarios in your head, but if you're looking where you're going, you'll be able to actually get there.
yeah.
So,
That's
yeah.
We had that moment the other day on site with someone, and I don't need to name him, but like, someone got messed up, and like he's
Uh,
just kind of like paralyzed, and I'm like,
yeah.
hey,
Well, what do
dude,
we do?
yeah. I was like, your anger's not gonna fix it. Do something, like. And he
Yeah.
just kind of laughed. He kind of laughed. I was like, "No, dude, you got to do something. Like the concrete truck is right there. We got to do something. Like you can't just be mad about it. Like there's yeah. So
Well,
that's another good way to look at it is you got to take
yeah.
action rather than like yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the other day I had a set of front stairs that we were pouring and a driveway, and I had a few guys working on the stairs with me, so I wasn't really paying attention. I'm usually the guy that forms the stairs and finishes them and stuff. So I had
Mhm.
a couple hands in the pot, we'll say, in this part of the project. And when we were pouring them, we got like almost completely done. And we're like scraping the chutes out of the truck to move him around so he's not dropping concrete everywhere. And we got like this much too much concrete like piled up
Mhm.
on the forms. And I had two forms that just went freaking blew
Mhm.
away. And I just kind of looked down at it and I was like, and everybody around me was like, I was like, well, better get going. And then everybody's like running around like, what do we do? And I'm like, it's fine. I'm not worried about it. We can fix it. It's not a big deal. So
Yeah.
there's a part of that like this mindset does work and at some point it does you can have a scenario that really sucks that you can just say, well, let's get started. Let's fix this thing. So I think
Mm.
that's really important to focus on because
Mm.
otherwise you'll be one of those people running around going, what do we do? Looking at or looking at it and just being like, yeah,
Yeah.
paralyzed. So
Yep. Yep. I
yes,
mean,
sir.
and if it all comes down to it, just be mean to the apprentice and you'll get through your day.
Yeah, blame it on
Yeah.
them too. It always
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah. Yeah. If the gratitude thing doesn't work, just blame that guy.
And blame it on the apprentice. This brings me to one last thing I wanted to close out with. So I've been asking, or I have been asked quite a few times, like what the podcast is about. And I always tell people it's to help tradespeople. But I think the real goal is helping people, like it's always been helping people succeed in the trades, but I really think it's helping people either decide to get into the trades or helping people that have been like recently that have recently joined the trades and helping them succeed because there's a
Mhm.
lot of that. Like we need to be attracting the younger generation, and a lot of these people need help because like we've talked about, we've got these old heads on job sites that don't want to give out information and don't want to help them
Mhm.
succeed. This podcast really is geared towards that, and it's kind of, as I've noticed subconsciously, we've been even moving towards just giving advice that's kind of almost geared towards the younger kids. And while there can be advice that is for everybody, it's like the whole point is getting people, like attracting people to the trades and then helping them succeed. So I wanted to drop that as I'm also I am starting our community that I've just been figuring out where I want it to be. So I think it's going to be
Mhm.
on Discord. So I'm going to be working on getting that set up so it'll be free to join. So it'll be a place where people can go and share ideas, and younger kids, you can share with kids that are interested in being in a trade and then go and get advice from people and have people to talk to in community because it's important for us to have community in the trades. So there's not enough of it. There's a lot of it, but there's not enough. Can
Yeah.
never be. So
Yeah. Love it,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah. So be on the lookout for that, and like, share, subscribe if you got something out of it. That always helps. And
Mhm.
Jesse, you got anything to add?
No, dude, I think he killed it there. I'm stoked for the Discord and the community. Like, that'll be dope.
It's
I think that'll be
yeah.
really helpful.
Yeah, I started a community at one point, but it wasn't quite right. So I wanted to make sure this one is good. So I've been a little slow on the get-go. I
Mhm.
probably should have just jumped right on and launched something, but it'll come. So I'm going to be working on that.
Hell yeah, dude.
Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Dude, appreciate you.